Ladies and gentlemen, good Friday afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Toxic Happy Hour, where we are toxic towards scams that delay the adoption of global sound money. Today we have a guy who absolutely exploded in Bitcoin content production in terms of both quantity and quality in 2020. Robert Breedlove, aka Bitcoin Philosopher, aka the poet, aka Adonis. Breedlove, welcome to the show. And what are you drinking today?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm having a nice chilled English breakfast tea, black tea. So I'm getting caffeinated for the happy hour.
Awesome. We'll take that, Puppy. We'll take whatever we can get. What are you drinking today, Puppy?
Well, it's coming after the happy hour, but I'm just sticking with my tried and true Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. A nice little beer. Yes, I probably could have stacked a few sets with the money I put into that, but hey, sometimes you also need a beer.
You gotta live a little bit. So today I stepped it up because it is Friday. So I exchanged the usual beer with some Danish Christmas Aquavit, which is made only for Christmas. Yeah, this is 2012, and it's straight out of the freezer. We have that for breakfast and lunch during Christmas days in Denmark. So, Robert, great to have you on the show. Welcome to what is probably going to be an interesting 1 hour. There's so many things you have been developing on the thought level in Bitcoin this last year that I personally would love to hear more about. One of them was the introduction of the zero. Do you think that would be a relevant place to start out, and you take us through some of that?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually in Indonesia right now, so 7 a.m. in the morning. So I'm drinking my black tea here and trying to fire up all the brain. And that zero piece is quite in depth, but I don't know if the audience has read it or not. I also did a video presentation for the Value of Bitcoin conference, which was a virtual conference. So I kind of did a 30-minute walkthrough of it for those that don't like to read, or you could actually go to check it out, Crypto Economy. Guys read it as well. But in general, I was dispelling a lot of common Bitcoin misconceptions, answering a lot of questions about Bitcoin over the years. And the hard one to answer, I found, was always, what makes Bitcoin different than all the other crypto assets? What about all the other coins? Shouldn't I diversify? Why is Bitcoin special? Blah, blah, blah. So, and to understand or to answer that question correctly requires an understanding of some nuanced concepts. You could look at it through the lens of something like Nick Carter. What he wrote was settlement assurances, which is how much energy is actually being allocated into securing each block of transactions. You could talk about network effects. You could talk about first mover advantage. You could talk about path dependence, but all these things are kind of nuanced, right? They're not. You can't just talk about these with anyone and they just grasp that. Even network effects, which are something that's become relatively common with social media utilities and other business models in the 21st century, a lot of people still don't understand. So long answer to long short. I wanted to write something to answer that question, to just say, why is Bitcoin different? What makes it unique? And I was looking for a historical parallel, something that was comparable to this. And I was just digging, I looked at a number of things. I looked at a lot of different ideas throughout history, because that was my starting point, is that Bitcoin is essentially an idea. It's just this idea of absolutely scarce, uninflatable, unstoppable, unconfiscatable money. That's all it is. It's an idea enshrined in software. And so I was looking through history for the analogous, unstoppable idea, and I landed on the discovery / invention of the number 0. And, you know, it sounds like we take it just totally for granted today. But when you actually dig into the history of it, number 0 was a watershed moment for humanity. Like the fact that we developed this numeric system that, first of all, even contemplated and symbolized the notion of nothingness. It gave our entire number system, our numeral system, its ability to scale, its ability to get into things like, it led to the discovery of calculus. Calculus is the system of mathematics that underpins everything in modernity. There is not a natural science that you benefit from, whether it's biology, physics, civil engineering, all of it is undergirded by calculus. It led us into the territory of negative numbers, and in the negative numbers, we also discovered the imaginary numbers. The imaginary numbers enable, you guys there?
Yeah.
Oh yes, we're just letting you roll, baby. Keep going.
Yeah, we don't want to interrupt you.
No, I got a little internet right as well about wireless technologies, which is fun. Let us into is what enable us to facilitate wireless tech. So that's it. And 0, it basically arose in the world. It was discovered in 7th century India. There was a mathematician named Brahmagupta that reportedly discovered it in meditation. He was saying that his experience of the void, which I don't know if you guys have ever done meditation, or you can also experience this through psychedelics or through, you know, solitude, time in nature. There's a lot of ways to access this, but there's this experiential state of timelessness, spacelessness, pure awareness, whatever you want to call it, that Brahmagupta, they call it the void, essentially, and it's the nothingness from which everything springs forth. And that's what 0 is. 0 is a symbol for that state, that pure state, that state of pure potentiality. That's what 0 represents. And it just mind-blowing that a guy discovered this thing in a spiritual practice that led to all these pragmatic utilities going forward. And then the last thing on that was that 0, once it was discovered and put into a numeric system, it became an unstoppable idea because it made every numeral system that used 0 like orders of magnitude more efficient. So all the systems that were built on top of mathematics were just so much more efficient that no one could ignore it. Like, it was very heavily resisted ideologically. The church denounced it. The church was premised on the Aristotelian philosophy of no infinity and no void. 0 implied both the void and infinity, and it just shattered that worldview. And it actually led to the Renaissance and the visual arts and all these other things, to the Enlightenment and to modernity. So it's a crazy freaking narrative, and I think Bitcoin's comparable in that it's just an unstoppable idea.
Before Anders jumps in, as he always is gonna do, I will say this. What's fascinating about the 0 concept to me is to apply a value to something that signified nothingness. That was such a major shift, like you said. There's actually a value to nothingness, and it's a value in everyone's life. Everyone's life is, guess what? There's time you got to take out for yourself. There's time you need away from the world, and I call that sort of that null void. So for someone to finally come out and put a mathematical value to it, I think is brilliant.
Another way to think about it is categories. It's a paradox. It's like it's the limits of logic almost, but on that bedrock is what we build everything that matters.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand, Breedlove, like, how did the invention of 0? I understand that it gives the full spectrum in like in numbers. You can start from nothing and go to infinity. Like, how did that in practice help, let's say, inventions and economic growth? Because that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. So if you take just mathematical calculation itself, you look at just you look at addition, subtraction, multiplication. Think about what that looks like in Roman numerals, which actually depict some of this in the piece. It's very cumbersome, right? You've got long strings of letters plus other long strings of letters. You then need to convert them into I's, add them all together, and then compress them back into V's and X's. It's a very cumbersome process just to add, subtract, or multiply. But when you get into division, which division is extremely important, especially, you know, in everything software, everything, frankly, everything technology driven, you need division. It becomes just flat out almost impossible. The Egyptians use these long strings of, what do they call them? Unit fractions, I think. So they would convert everything to a common denominator and then have to divide, like add across these long tables. And then you end up with an answer that's basically a long string of fractions. But when you get the concept of zero, you can convert all of that long string of fractions into a single decimal, basically. They didn't have the concept of a you know, 0 point, instead of saying 1/8, you say 0.125. They didn't even have that.
Right.
So it allowed you to compress the space and time necessary to perform calculation down to a point relative to these long tables of unit fractions, which gives the mathematics themselves a much higher utility, right? You can be much more productive with them. And then you also get into these other domains. They're completely blind to things like negative numbers, imaginary numbers, etc. They had, now, the Chinese had negative numbers in a kind of a they had them like negative whatever, but they didn't use them properly. They were not built into the numeral system properly. So there's all of that. And then with the thing that drove it along was trade, right? Merchants basically realized this Hindu-Arabic numeral system that was a zero-based numeral system was just way more efficient, easier to use, faster to calculate, less prone to error than all these other, largely the Roman numeral system. So it was the merchants themselves that grabbed onto this thing and said, this system has a much higher utility, and therefore it proliferated. And then just through market action, that system becomes naturally favored over time because those that don't use it get outcompeted, right? So it's a matter of productivity enhancement that sort of self-selects itself. And I would, would argue Bitcoin, not only is Bitcoin an unstoppable idea in that same sense, by the way, like I said earlier, zero was heretical to the church effectively because the church was premised on that Aristotelian philosophy of no infinity, no void. Bitcoin clearly is heretical to the Fed, right? Absolutely scarce money is the opposite of what Mr. Infinite Cash, whatever his effing name is at the Fed, says. They'll just print and paper over every loss and every bad decision, no matter the consequences, right? Bitcoin is the antithesis to that. But it's also like it enhances, if you think just one function of Bitcoin, if you think about it as a system that automates the central bank needs to establish international value flows, it needs to reconcile account balances, and it needs to maintain monetary policy. The Federal Reserve has 20,000 employees to accomplish that. That's just one central bank in the world. Bitcoin does that with how many employees? Right? Zero. And we don't have this.
Now I see the zero employees.
Yeah, zero. And we don't have this army of financial analysts poring over what color is Janet Yellen's blazer, how many bips are they going to add to the interest rate next month based on her nonverbal expressions, and just trying to game, like, it just pulls the politics completely out of money once and for all. And in doing so, you give humanity this fair and equitable playing field by which to plan their economic action and calculation. So I think it's just another one of those systems that so radically improves our productivity and use of energy, which this is an area that's very nuanced for Bitcoin as well. They think Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. Well, whatever the market says is pretty much true, right? If there's a utility that someone's willing to pay for it, then that's effectively as close as you're going to get to instrumental truth. And then when you compare Bitcoin's energy usage to, say, gold mining, fiat currency, government waste, armored cars, bank, brick and mortar facilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the energy list really favors Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's disrupting the need for all of this. You can get rid of all of these things on this side of the scale, and Bitcoin's energy use will satisfy their function. So that's it, man. It's an unstoppable idea that adds so much practical use case and improvement in human productivity that I just think it's going to eat the world like zero did, right? No one in the world even conceives of not having a zero in the numeral system today. And I think in X years, call it 50, 100 years, it's not even going to be conceivable to use any other form of money than Bitcoin. The idea of having local government monopolies on paper currencies that could just press a lever to extract wealth from the productive economy at their own political discretion will seem totally anachronistic and even barbaric, I think. It's just a scam in history.
You're not wrong. And any of these, of course.
Oh, Breedlove is not wrong. Nice puppy. I like it.
No, you're not wrong. Well, but no, yep. Enjoy your tea. You're not wrong in all your assessment. No, but what I look forward to is, this is a show by the plebes or plebs for the plebes or plebs, whatever you want. As you're looking forward, I mean, what brought you into this? Because I had a great interview with someone that said, "My God, you're really having Breedlove on to hang out?" And I said, "Yeah, he's going to come." And he says, "Well, ask him. I mean, what sent him? This is from a boomer, by the way. What sent him down the rabbit hole? How old was he? How did he come into Bitcoin to begin with?" He goes, I hear all his, all his podcasts, but I can't catch up to how he even started this."
What got me down the rabbit hole? I had always been a curious person, had always read a lot. As a kid, really started at like 11 or 12, started reading a lot. And I started actually with astrophysics. I was always, as a kid, wondering what the F the stars were. Every time I'd like go camping, I grew up in Tennessee, so we grew up in nature a lot, and I just was like, what is going on here? So as soon as I figured out I could read and learn for myself, I went straight to the deep end of the pool. And
why am I not surprised?
That gave me a solid foundation for like the rest of my life. Is just further my own understanding through reading. Like reading is so amazing to me that you can take this laser beam of consciousness and point it anywhere into anyone's mind throughout history, and you reshape yourself in the process. Like it's just, I love it. I'm an obsessive reader, I would say. But I ended up, by the age of 16, 17, I'm reading The Economist every week because I'm trying to understand what's going on in the real world. Growing up, I always wanted to be a businessman. I didn't even know what that meant. I thought it meant like carrying a briefcase, sending faxes, and having people send you money. Whatever. Had no idea what that meant. So I thought learning economics and accounting would be the best path into that. And ended up, when going into the deep end of that subject, I ended up in central banking, like the Creature from Jekyll Island.
Brilliant book, by the way. Yeah, brilliant book.
Brilliant book. This is 2000, probably 4. Yeah. So I'm like 18, 19 years old reading this. I end up getting everyone in my circle, my friends and family, I get them an abridged version of The Creature from Jekyll Island titled Dishonest Money. It's a book by Joe Plummer. You can order it online. It's like a 100-page version, basically, of that. And so I landed on this, what I consider to be truth, that central banking is the black core of many of the socioeconomic problems in the world. Yeah. And this is before Bitcoin. This is 2005, 2006. So I was in that point in the rabbit hole before Bitcoin. then just kind of moved on. I moved on to other interests. I became a fiat chasing business executive. I was like a CFO guy, traveling and doing deals and whatever. Just never lost my libertarian roots, but definitely got off my own path a little bit. I think when you make, money changes people, frankly. So when I started to make some money, I just got a little more involved with that lifestyle, I guess. Like just drinking more and being more self-interested. And I dated a girl for a long time. We eventually broke up. I was like a single young guy making a lot of money and living that life. But then heard of Bitcoin in 2014. Didn't realize it was the thing, actually. I didn't realize it was the answer to central banking. I was operating under the fallacy, just like the Facebook, MySpace fallacy. It's version 1 of cryptocurrency, and version 50 will be the thing that changes the world. So I hadn't gone down that. Didn't get deep enough down the rabbit hole yet.
Right.
I didn't. I actually had a roundabout path that I kept. I bought some Bitcoin, but didn't pay attention to it. Made a little bit of money, and then it was in 2016 actually. Thank you, Vitalik Buterin. Ethereum's marketing efforts got me interested in smart contracts. And then when I read Nick Szabo's work on smart contracts, that was my light bulb. I was like, okay, everything, the whole finance industry is a smart contract with people intermediating it that one day software could intermediate. So that was my real fall down the rabbit hole. And then, as I always say, where your money goes, your mind follows. As I studied the space more deeply, I became more and more focused on Bitcoin over time as the antidote to central banking.
So what's interesting to me is, dear God, I got like 5,000 hours of interviews to listen where you're involved. You're involved with either Michael Saylor, you're involved with Stefan Lavera, anyone else. What's fascinating to me is there's so many angles to come into Bitcoin, so many angles that you come in. You come in from a philosophical angle, an angle with an economic side, an angle where, you know what, I'm just here, I'm an anarchist. How do you rank the way people come in? Is there a way that you rank how they find Bitcoin? Because for me, I came in for number go up technology, and then I turned it into, wait a second, there's something here that's different than the rest of the world. And I stayed.
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. One is this quote that no one can find attribution for. So someone said it once, but it's brilliant. Everyone buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve.
Love it. Agree.
I think it's great. I have my own little, I don't want to call it regret because I don't try to live with regret, but I definitely kick myself a little bit. It's that I knew all this about central banking. I had all this background. I didn't have the Austrian economics background, so I think that's probably the gap I had. And I had heard of Bitcoin and I owned Bitcoin, but I didn't cross the chasm until 2 years later. I could have accumulated so much Bitcoin in 2014 and whatever, but I didn't, right? I was distracted, whatever. So I bought Bitcoin at the price I deserve, like everyone else. And the other quote that comes to mind is, I think number go up technology is the draw for everyone. But people can say whatever they want, but if Bitcoin was not having the price action that it's been having in the market, no one would be paying as much attention as they do.
Nope.
So the tweet I put out was, Bitcoin, come for the profit, stay for the principles. It's one thing to come in to try and quote unquote make money, but the people that really stay here, the people that we would call Bitcoiners, our brothers in arms, they're here to adhere to the principles of sound money, right? We're not here to make money anymore. We're here to remake money itself.
And own real money instead of owning dirty fiat currency, which is not money, because
No.
money can store value. Back to you, Robert.
No, that's absolutely right. We're moving away from slave tokens, right? Debt is slavery. Yeah. Fiat currency is an irredeemable debt obligation subject to unlimited counterparty risk. You can be deauthorized, you can be inflated, you can be confiscated. It's the opposite of freedom, basically. And Bitcoin is the opposite of fiat.
So I always wanted to ask this question, Robert, because I know I heard you once talk about the creature from Jekyll Island, about the founding of the Federal Reserve, which, if you read the book, your mind gets changed quite a bit. But had you read King Leopold's Ghost?
I have not heard of it.
So King Leopold's Ghost, I thought you might have, because he was the king of Belgium that has sent all those ships down the African coast to yes. Oh, by the way, we can make glass beads cheaper than you.
Mm.
You should check that one out. It's good.
King Leopold's Ghost. Yeah, I'll check that out. That ties into the aggregate stuff.
Yeah, King Leopold's Ghost. Check it out, man. It's good.
Robert, we have a question from one of our, honestly, in my opinion, the best memers on Bitcoin Twitter, they, well, we have Pubby right here, but they're also in the chat. We have so many of the great memers. So we have a very relevant question. Of all the Bitcoin memes, I know we're taking it down a step here, but what's your favorite meme of all the memes in Bitcoin?
Favorite meme? Is this like the slogans or the actual photo?
It's like
the slogans. I say slogans, man.
Yeah, so it can be the HODL, it can be the 615, it can be have fun staying peer, it can be NGU technology, like that type of things, right? Pubby, you're a memer, you can better explain it maybe.
Oh, listen, I'm a memer in the sense of I love the fact that you can take an idea and try to break it down to a simple photo and maybe a few words. Robert is gifted in the fact that he can take a simple idea and make it, I wouldn't say harder, but he can expand upon it to write it in words. I like to just do things in images, limited words. But what are the ways that you like people to expand on their ideas with a meme?
Whew. A couple of things come to mind here. We talk about memes like they're some sort of new phenomenon with the internet age. People commonly think of maybe a picture's worth 1,000 words. So you put a little funny picture up and then you label it with something that contextualizes it to Bitcoin or whatever other topic you want, and that's a meme. But memes, I think Richard Dawkins originated these, right? He actually described that, and I read this in a book. There's a book called The Information by James Gleick. He also has a book called Chaos.
Yes, good.
They're both great books. And my revelation by the end of his book, The Information, was that actually what we think is life, the actual organism, is a suborganism of information. Like information is the highest organism. And it's something we barely understand, right? Even DNA, we're just this quadratic code flowing through flesh kind of thing. And the genes in our body are actually immortal. We're just the vessel for our genes. So we're carrying out the dictates of our genetic code. So anyways, not to get too deep down the rabbit hole, but we are memes. We are ideas propagating through flesh. And so I find it interesting that we now, they've sort of gone into digital space and they mutate and transform on their own, which is another expression of what the free market is, right? It's where we project our ideas so they can compete, combine, transform, reproduce, and that's what innovation is, right? We figure out new ways of doing things. So it's a whole interesting way to look at the world. And I think the other thing that comes to mind is mythology. Actually, mythology. There's this whole subjective side of the world. We think in our Western minds that the materialist viewpoint is everything. We think everything's like made of atoms and there's causality and everything can be reduced scientifically. But that's not true. And if you read Human Action by Mises or any other Austrian greats, actually economics points towards that. It's like there is a subjective domain of praxeology or purpose of human action that is not reducible to an objective science. Simply not. It's all subjective. So mythology, I think, tries to capture the meaning behind a lot of that in imagistic form because you can't explicitly describe it. So anyways, that comes to mind. But what is my favorite Bitcoin meme? I tweeted this out that there's one of the scene in the Matrix where Neo like discovers his power and he's fighting the 3 agents in the hallway.
Yes.
And, you know, they're trying to gun him down. He puts his hand up and stops all the bullets, and then all the bullets are labeled like whatever, the Fed, quantitative easing, capital controls, whatever, and all the bullets fall. And then the agent tries to run over and start fighting Neo, and he's, you know, beating him up with one arm. And then he kicks him down the hall.
That's so good.
It's great because that's what Bitcoin has been doing for the past 12 plus years. It just has exhibited this anti-fragility against all countervailing forces, all central banks, all regulations, all contradictory ideologies. It's just destroyed everything in front of it. And number continue to go up. So
I got to jump in on this one because when you said anti-fragility, I think it was in episode 5 of you and Michael Saylor when he talked about the best thing about a Marvel comic hero was anti-fragility. It's the one that can't be killed.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Well, Anders won't believe me, but yes, I listened to 534 hours of episodes and memorized them. Anyway, let me go forward. The episode where Michael Saylor says anti-fragility is the greatest strength of Bitcoin.
No, what did you say you listened to 500 hours of? You listened to 500 hours of that?
It sounds like it. I mean, it was hour after hour after hour after hour, man. It was like Michael Saylor, what? Saylor, and oh, wait a second, here we go again. No, it was brilliant. I will tell you this. The part that got me the most, man, the anti-fragility part, the part that can't be killed.
Yeah. Well, someone said this in the chat, Bitcoin crossed the Rubicon, everyone will bend the knee. That's a great analogy to what you're talking about, because what Saylor is saying is that survivability is the ultimate superpower.
Yep.
Right? If you're immune to destruction, then you have all the time in the world to figure out how to defeat all your enemies, no matter their offensive capabilities. Right. And this comes back to an old quote by Sun Tzu in The Art of War. I think it's Sun Tzu. He said, if you wait long enough by the river, you can live to see the bodies of your enemies float by.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin has crossed that Rubicon, and all of its enemies will be floating down that river, I think, over time. And the Saylor series, just to speak to that real quick, we did 10.5 hours of recording.
Yeah.
And we've released 8 episodes of that so far. We've got one more episode to release. I also added like a little intro and maybe like a 30-minute outro to each episode to synthesize. So it's a lot of content.
Good.
And then Saylor and I are going to record at least one more episode. We'll see what happens. If it goes to 3 to 5 hours, it might be 2 or 3 episodes. We'll see. But there's at least 2 more episodes coming out. So hope everyone's excited for that.
It's more than exciting. Where do you go now? Because when you started here, when we all started here a couple of years ago, we had a price point on Bitcoin. I mean, what's your price point? Where do you see Bitcoin going in the future? Because I mean, we just doubled. It took 12 years to get to 20,000. And dear God, here we are. 3 weeks later, we just doubled that again. So what's up for 2021, man?
Oh yeah, let's get some bull run price predictions.
Yeah,
we'll take it down a notch here, Robert, and just talk about price predictions.
Yeah, I tweeted about this the other day, but we had a model produced in August 2018. That's been very accurate, actually.
yeah.
Had Bitcoin at 11,000 range. I forget the exact number by November of 2020, which I think, or maybe it was 19. I forget. Anyways, it was right on target. It was 11,000. Had it at 20,000 by December 2020, which it was under. Actually, I think we ended the month of December at 27,000. So that model is currently under by about 100%. So as Saylor said, all of our models have been destroyed. My model has been destroyed too. But that model had Bitcoin at 244,000 before the end of 2023. It said between the end of 2021 and 2023, which it looks like is going to occur consistent prior to this point, which would have it occurring roughly 18 months after the halving, which would have it occurring roughly at the end of this year. And this was all before COVID, all before the worldwide flood of fiat liquidity. So I stand by that model. I think it's already underperforming. I think it's conservative.
Is this which model are we talking about? This is your model?
This is your proprietary model we did for our fund to put out guidance and everything. So, and it was based on just history of price movements, fundamentals. You know, we extrapolated growth on, say, wallets and hash rate and all of these things and made a composite formula and then mapped that to price action. So I think, 244 is kind of my conservative bar. But I would also say I'm so unaffected. My mood and emotions are unaffected in this bull market because my strategy is just accumulate and never sell. So I don't care what Bitcoin. It's nice to see. The number one feeling I have from the bull market is vindication, actually. People that thought I was crazy talking about this thing at $3,800.
Yeah.
You know, people outside of Bitcoin just disparaging our belief in the investment thesis, our conviction in the asset. I feel vindicated now because those same people are now, you know, calling me and panting and drooling and how do I do whatever. It's come full circle, let's say.
Have you found a few people like that? They really call you right now? That's hilarious.
Oh, I have more through all the various media channels and text and call. I have more things than I can respond to. So I'm doing my best, but I'm also, you know, you just have to remember where people. I'm happy to help people with Bitcoin, but there's also a lot of people that will just always think they're too late, no matter what. You know, some people are like, oh, I can't buy now at 48,000. It's like, here's the strategy: like, make an initial position, market buy, have a target position, dollar cost average towards the target position, buy dips, self custody. The end. I don't care where you're at in the market cycle, just do that. And then I think, you know, you spend enough time in the rabbit hole, and you will eventually develop this. I think everyone ends up on the strategy that I'm on, which is you just accumulate forever and never sell.
So let me ask you this, because you can come from.
I'd like a word afterwards, Pubby, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, you can. No, no, of course. How do you rank Bitcoin in the world in the sense of philosophy, economics? How do you recognize it into your life, or what it means to the people of the world? Is it a philosophy? Is it an economic entrance? Is it something that changes your history and legacy? How do you rank them? Because I'll tell you what, Bitcoin approaches you from so many angles.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it really. Some people call it a religion. Some people call it money. Some people call it a philosophy, an ideology. But I think all of this just points towards our attempts to use our limited language to describe something that is, you know, radically new. And some, you saw this with the invention of the internet, surfing the World Wide Web, like all these analogies to try to describe what this new thing is, because there's not really, we don't have the language necessary to describe it. Sure. I even heard, I think this was Eric Kaysen, called Bitcoin a super language object, which I thought was really cool. It's really something really new, right? It's the first major innovation that has human nature as one of its core operating components. Like if you look at the legs of Bitcoin, you're like, you've got mathematics in the actual code, you've got thermodynamics in the mining process, and then you've got Darwinian self-preservation in the game theory.
Yeah.
So we are Bitcoin. We're a part of it, and it changes us unquestionably. I think the general experience is, you know, everyone talks about it lowering their time preference, but I would also say that it burns the fiat out of you. Whatever sinfulness or for me, it was like actually a bit of arrogance. I just had economic models that had worked, and then I would think that they're going to continue to work. So I was excessively I had a large risk appetite, but Bitcoin has burned me enough times to show me that to be more conservative, frankly. And I don't know, I've become better too. The place I point people on this topic, Jordan Peterson, he's a brilliant speaker. If you haven't listened to any of his YouTube lectures, I'd say go start with.
He's good.
Regardless of your religious affiliation, you can start with the psychological significance of the Bible. That's one of his YouTube lecture series, and he just talks about the Bible, but he's talking about it through a scientific lens, so it's very interesting. He wrote a book called Maps of Meaning. That's a very difficult book. But towards the end of that book, he starts talking about alchemy. And that's a whole rabbit hole unto itself. I won't go into it now, but the ultimate aim of alchemy was to discover the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone was the incorruptible substance that would serve as an antidote to state tyranny.
Truth. It's the ultimate truth at the time. The alchemy was
nothing man-made.
What's the ultimate truth? Yeah.
Substance or institution-wise has ever been perfectly resistant to corruption, right? Everything, even the church, has become corrupt. Right? And that's largely what people have a problem with religion, because they don't like the institution of organized religion. It's not like they don't like the morality in the Bible, like love your brother and don't steal and don't kill. Like no one's upset with that. It's always about the institution behind it. So Bitcoin at that number 21 million is the first incorruptible substance I think man has ever created. And the other part of alchemy was that the Philosopher's Stone, which is called the Lapis Philosophorum, would actually change the character of those who interacted with it. So it would, not only was it incorruptible, but by interacting with it, it would remove corruption from you. So it would elevate your own morality. And I'll be damned if you don't talk to Bitcoiners across the spectrum, talk about Bitcoin changing them, like in a positive way. It's all the same direction. Everyone has their own unique flavor of it. But it's always positive towards, like, you know, more family orientation, more health consciousness, more, you know, becoming more pragmatic with their spending, their lifestyle, community concern. So I don't know, like, what if Bitcoin is this thing that the alchemists were prophesying for thousands of years? Like, how crazy would that be?
But
here's I don't know. The answer is I don't know what to call it, but I hope that Bitcoin is the Philosopher's Stone. And if you go read Jordan Peterson's work about alchemy, it will blow your mind. People were writing this stuff thousands of years ago, and it could be written yesterday to describe Bitcoin. It's really interesting.
Wow.
You know, what was curious to me is, yeah, as you go forward, damn, yeah, something from Jordan Peterson, as you go forward and you have to talk to your family of, well, hell, what do we do? What is truth? What is the most important thing in life? Then all of a sudden, now we go down that rabbit hole of what is real, and what is real to us in our own situation. Everyone has their own situation, and that's the hardest part of it all.
I would add one thing to this too that Saylor added to my mental conception of this was,
yeah, go ahead. Yep, go.
Energy is truth, right? In an instrumental sense, like wherever energy flows, that's what's real. Yeah. So therefore, conservation of energy is conservation of truth. So that's why these systems, right, like the zero-based numeral system, it conserves energy. We accomplish greater results with less efforts. That's why zero is truth. Bitcoin allows us to accomplish greater results with less efforts. That's why Bitcoin is truth. These instruments that give us greater productivity win out over time, and they become instrumental truth.
Bitcoin is free market, and capitalism is truth, because that's where supply and demand truly find each other. And that's why central banks is such a lie, because it is not free market supply and demand of money, and interest rate is the price of money. It is not found through truth and flow of energy, as you say. It's found by a committee of 5 to 7 academics. I don't know how many they sit there, and they decide what is truth, and that's a lie. You got to let the free market find truth.
And that's it. That's the same point too. The society cooperating under a division of labor is more productive than a society not, right? So again, energy conservation. So the free market is truth because it is the most productive system. It's the same thing. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. Well, I can't disagree on that, man, because freedom to me is, listen, you do what you can, you do what you will. You're going to have your family behind you either way, and here we are. So I get pissed off when I see people that try to put you in a corner. They put you in a corner of believe what we're going to say here or else. Because to me, that's fascism all the way.
All right, we have Knut Svanholm also in the chat. Well, look, all of you in the chat, I really appreciate all of the stuff you're writing, your help. I mean, that's really part of our show is our chat. It's really lit, I would say. So we got Knut Svanholm here. I just bring him out as well because he's coming on later this month. We're going to have a conversation with him as well. There's another philosopher right there, just like yourself, Robert.
Knut's awesome. His writing is really good. I loved the first book, Sovereignty Through Mathematics.
Yeah.
I've yet to read his second book, which is Freedom Reimagined. Did I get the title right?
Oh no, hang on 1 second. I got it for you. Hang on. My bad.
Yeah. So Pubby, I'll put him back on when he's back. He's doing all the phenomenal preparation for the shows. I got to give him credit for that. He reads an insane amount of books. He's good at reading books.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
So yes, this is Knut's first one. Sovereignty.
That's the second one, Independence Reimagined.
Yes, oh, hang on. Yes.
This is water, actually. Whoever said it was vodka. I don't drink, by the way.
Sorry, Knut. That's one sucked.
Because of Bitcoin. So, and that makes me feel a little, I don't know, Poppy. I didn't stop drinking because of Bitcoin. It makes me feel a little impure, but I'm still loving life, I gotta say.
I don't know that I'll do it stop forever, but for me, I had to kind of weigh all of these things I'm trying to do, which is I'm wrestling with a lot of big ideas and trying to just do a lot of projects versus my own little personal enjoyment. So I just made the sacrifice for now. You know, I don't know. Could be a year, could be the rest of my life. I'm not sure yet. But
So Robert, how I try, because I also want to help facilitate the big thoughts. So what I do is I sacrifice myself and spend my time bringing brains like you and Knut Svanholm on the show and help facilitate that. And man, we had a lot of great people on the show. Jeff Booth, Uri, Gigi, a lot of really smart people on. And January is pretty insane, to be honest. So that's what I try and do. I help facilitate you guys. That's my contribution. Then I have a shot at the same time. Did we lose? Did Breedlove log off now? I think he took that as his cue, and no, he's there. All right, it's just the internet connection. You'll be back on.
Yeah, I'm back. I lost you guys for like 10 seconds.
Yep, we got you.
Hey, Breedlove, let's talk about the hair, man. Let's go. What's going on, baby? Let's go about the hair.
There are only 2 low time preference haircuts, and it's either don't cut it or cut it all. And I didn't cut it for like 3 years. I didn't have a haircut. I just stacked sats and let it grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was so long. It was probably 3 inches below my nipple. It was very long.
Jesus.
Very long.
Camila is getting goosebumps right now in the chat.
And then I just cut it off. We just cut it off the beginning of the year here, and I don't know. I guess I'm militarizing for 2021. We're going to war, baby. So.
2021, we are going to fucking war. So thank you for cleaning up the hair, because that's gonna set you up for success when you get shot and we have to perform some sort of surgery on you. No,
it great, man. It was so good. Like, I can't even tell you. It was so. My hair was like having an animal on your head at some point. It was just so much to deal with.
Let's be honest. Be honest with the people out here. How good does it feel to have that done? It feels so good, doesn't it?
Feels amazing.
Clean shaven.
It reminds me of the feeling you get if you go into like 110-degree sauna or whatever. I don't Celsius as well. A really hot sauna, and then jump in a really icy cold bath. It's kind of like that transition. It feels great.
Welcome. So I used to do that with no, I can't say that. That's gonna come out weird. I'm gonna keep the sauna talk out of the show. Don't want that recorded forever. Yeah. So Robert, there's another thing that Pubby and I have been talking about, that a lot of like really high-end Bitcoin podcasts that we look up to and enjoy and find inspiration in. There's a lot of talk of first principles. So we thought if maybe you could explain to us. Actually, this comes from you, Pubby. But if you could take it through. Yeah, go ahead. Take it over, Pubby.
Yeah, fuck yeah. It comes from me, man.
Because, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
Thanks. No, listen, man. When you go forward shit, and you want to have like great guys in the space that, they're teaching you about Bitcoin, and fuck, you get someone like our first principle this or that. Like, what in the world is going on here? Because unfortunately, then once you put it out there that you talk about first principles, and I try to explain to Anders, when we have a new generation coming in right now at 40,000, 50,000, goddamn, even 100,000, they're going to find some of your old videos, and they're going to find out things about first principles. How do you explain it to them? I'll go first. I'll go first.
Please.
Pubby will go first on this one, because the way I explained it was, these are the rules to the game. These are the rules to the football match. These are the rules to the football game. These are the rules we set aside for you. These are the first principles, and you play by those rules, but you also get burned by those rules. Man, I said that, and I think in 10 seconds. So yeah, tell us about first principles.
I think that's a great understandable way to sum it up and convey it. They are, if I can make it a little more professor-like, they're axiomatic.
Nuance is the word you're looking for. Yep.
They're axioms, right? They are and an axiom is like, you can imagine a logical system, like whatever science you have, right? When you go to the bottom of that science, it needs to be rooted in another system. Like there has to be some invariant at the bottom of the system so that you can analyze all of the variables in the system against it, right? It's a constancy of measurement. So in praxeology, right, which if you read Human Action by Mises, the first principle of, and praxeology is the
easy. I'm just one man. I can't read it all in one night. Go ahead.
And by the way, one of the hardest books to read ever. It's in English, but translated from German, but it will just blow out your worldview. Like you think the world is atoms and scientific reductionism, go read Human Action. It's like it is the Bible of economics, and there's a whole nother side to the equation. Praxeology is the study of purpose of human action. So we all the study of means and ends. So we think things are things, right? Like a table is a table, a book is a book. But in fact, these things change based on the allocation of purpose to them. All right. The common example I like to give is this table is an accessory to me because it's holding my laptop, which is satisfying the achievement of my aim of talking to you guys. But if I gave someone $100, or if I was given $100 to jump over this table, the table would become an obstacle to me. Right? Wow. Same table in objective materialist reality, two different forms of existence in my purpose-driven reality. So there's a reality shaped by human action that is it's non-material. It's based on my interest, my agenda, my aims relative to other people's interest, agendas, and aims. There's a whole other side of reality that you can't see, but is very important. The first principle of praxeology, which is the study of purpose of human action, is that man must act. Right? You can't argue that away. There's even inaction as an action. We can't not act. Like we exist in time, we're breathing, we're thinking. So long as we're alive and we're human, you could, sorry, girls, human.
Yeah.
Right?
Human.
So that is an example of the first principle of economics, that humans must act. You could look at thermodynamics, right? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. There's three laws of thermodynamics: conservation of energy and mass. All closed systems tend towards greater entropy. So that means a system left on its own tends to become more chaotic, disorderly, uncertain over time. And there's a third law that I can never recall. I'll skip that one. But those are like the first principles of thermodynamics. So systems that we study through the lens of these different bodies of knowledge that better adhere or respect the first principles of those bodies of knowledge tend to outcompete or tend to become real, which again, we're back to energy is truth, right? So energy conservation is conservation of truth. So money, for instance, that most respects the first law of thermodynamics, which is the conservation of energy and mass, which means the maximization of productivity, tends to outcompete over time. Because it's like the rules that you described, you said those are the rules of the game. Thermodynamics are the rules of the game. We cannot break them. They're invariant laws of the universe. So what we can do is create systems that respect them most, right? That adhere to their principles the most. So we have Bitcoin. Money cannot be created nor destroyed. It can be destroyed technically, but you can't actually, you can't create any more of it, which is the important part, right? If you destroy it of your own volition, you're making a contribution to everyone else in the system. That's not really a problem. The problem is if you can create more money and steal from everyone in the system, which Bitcoin eliminates. So it's a money that respects thermodynamics.
Listen, I'll tell you one thing. Queen, the band, respects the Bitcoin. And I tell you what, if there's one band that was ready for Bitcoin, it was Queen. So get ready, because you're going to get some memes coming your way, because that's the only Queen was the most original band in the 70s, man. And here we come. Get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready, because they were the original.
Sorry, I just saw Canute put in the chat that praxeology and mathematics are the most important subjects, and I agree.
Yeah.
What is praxeology? I would like to. Can you explain that?
The study of purposive human action.
Right.
So it's the study of means and ends. When you take action, by the way, this just doesn't mean like, this isn't a involuntary response. This isn't like the doctor hits your knee with a hammer and your leg flops out. That's not an action. That would be just a reflexive response. Action is when you have pointed your consciousness at something. You're at A, you want to move towards B.
Mm-hmm.
That is the ends. B is the ends. Whatever stands between A and B are your means. So if I want to walk from, this side of the restaurant to the other side of the restaurant, my means are my legs, my shoes, the floor.
Oh, right.
And praxeology is the study of means and ends, how man makes use of means to achieve ends. And it's entirely subjective. It's like the bedrock subjective side of the equation. That mathematics would be the bedrock objective side of the equation. And these two studies describe almost everything in reality, But we as Westerners think math is everything. We think it's all math, it's all reducible to mathematics, but it's simply not. You cannot quantify human action. And that's why you got to go read the book, man. It's like, it's so ill understood, but it is, you are blind to this side of the universe. And this is all new to me, by the way. The 3 books I recommended were Human Action by Mises. Go read Maps of Meaning by Jordan Peterson. He will also thoroughly destroy the objective materialist viewpoint of reality. And there's another one, the sleeper book, is by the author of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. His name is Robert Pirsig. He wrote another book called Lila, L-I-A.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?
The metaphysics of quality. And he also, his premise is that value is primary. So we think A causes B. His thesis is that B values precondition A.
I'm laughing.
I've been waiting here for a little while to say something, so I'm gonna have to ask you to hold back a little. I would just like to ask you, Robert. So my take on you were talking about human action, and it has a purpose. Probably you didn't have to leave, but whatever. But isn't human action by default you can deduct all of it to reproduction, because genes are created in such a way that the genes that are most focused on reproduction are the ones that are most reproduced. Tell me how I'm wrong.
I would say and I actually haven't read Dawkins' Selfish Gene yet, but the one thing that comes to mind is, as we become more productive, right? We've been saying this whole time that energy is truth, conservation of energy is conservation of truth. What that also means is more productivity, more wealth creation, right? So more of our base level concerns are met more easily. Shelter is cheaper, food is cheaper. All of my animal bio concerns are more easily satisfied, right? Maybe 1 hour per week or 10 hours per week, versus savage man, right? With no trading partners, no division of labor. He's working full time just to survive, right? So those are the two ends of the spectrum. As we move towards the more civilized end of the spectrum, we tend to become, this is where morals tend to flower, right? Morals and manners and sophisticated behavior. We work our way up this level of concern where we're not as concerned with our own base level reproduction. And I think we were saying earlier how ideas are kind of the superorganism. We start to serve higher ideas and ideals. So, and I would put, like the philosophers in this bucket, right? What are they, like, what's Nietzsche doing writing these books, trying to appeal to broader humanity? Or he's not trying to reproduce. It's not like he's going to have kids from that necessarily. Maybe you could say he's trying to get famous to bang hotter chicks or something. I don't know, but you could make the argument. But I think that the way I see it is, the more we work and innovate, the less concerned we are about the immediate material concerns of survival, the closer we approach timeless principles, right? Which you could say these are like spiritual or artistic aims, literary aims and concerns. We just become more civilized, more sophisticated. The less we are concerned with our own direct reproduction, the more we're concerned with serving the greater human socioeconomic superorganism, right? Because we all are one consciousness, we come from one evolutionary source. So I think as we ascend that hierarchy of timelessness, we become more concerned with the whole, less concerned with the individual.
Right.
So that would be my rough answer.
I think that's a great answer, because you highlight that what, in my opinion, is that there is a built-in part of our DNA that will have us focus on our own reproduction, but DNA and offspring has also benefited from individuals trying to help the entire gene pool. So I would still say that that takes us to more than just our own reproduction, but it takes us to the improvement of overall mankind, which at the end of the day means that, okay, so when like you said, Nietzsche, he may not have written those books to bang hotter chicks and get hotter kids that had a better chance for survival, but that way of thinking is improving overall the mankind's gene pool compared to other species that we compete against in their gene pool. So I would still deduct, I know it's very simple, I'm just trying to like say it how I see it, that at the end of the day, the genes that are more focused on helping not only your own genes, but the gene pool in total, are the ones that more often reproduced.
I agree with that. The one other thing I would say is that there's actually studies done by the UN that the best way to improve environmental consciousness in a community is to make the members of that community more wealthy. So there's a correlation between per capita GDP and how much people are willing to exhibit environmental concern and pay for environmental cleanup efforts. So it extends beyond the species a little bit. Now that could still be self-interest, right? We could still be like, I just want to live in a cleaner world and have a more diversity of flora and fauna around me and all of this. I can agree with that. And this might be pointing to just a first principle of life as well. I mean, the universe is expanding. The universe is self-preserving. Clearly, all of the life forms and systems within it are going to be expansive and life-preserving. So a kind of a first principle of life is it wants to proliferate. So it is serving human genetic interests, but I think it also, again, as we become more productive, we actually start to serve broader biological and ecological interest as well. So it gets beyond even human concerns at a point.
I agree, and I guess we have reached a level where we can think about something else that only mankind. Still, you could question, mankind thinking of environment survival and species survivals and fauna survival in order to have the best possible understanding of biology, including our own biology going forward, like with medicine and everything coming out of the rainforest. So there is some self-interest. It's not because I want to dumb it all down to mankind being selfish, but I think there is a connection there that preserving the world's fauna is in mankind's best interest in terms of survival.
Yeah, I agree. And we're sort of at that, I guess this is a Micean principle as well, is that when man acts, he is doing So to improve he's doing so to move away from uneasiness, is what they call it in the book. You could also think of it as we take action to diffuse anxiety. No one's going to try and move towards more anxiety, right? No one's going to do that. Even if you're a killer, you cut yourself. Even if you cut yourself for fun, right? You're actually seeking the pleasure of the endorphins that are released from the cutting. No one's going to try and go get cancer, right? You're not going to try and get more anxiety in your life. So there is this kind of like in Bitcoin, this core operating element of self-preservation, that we are always trying to improve our state of affairs. And that seems to be pretty deeply rooted. But then I don't know, it's crazy though with, there's another side to that though, which is evil, right?
I don't know if it's evil. What do you think is evil?
Well, I put this in one of my pieces. John Milton, author of Paradise Lost, he defined evil as the force which believes its knowledge is complete. So when we become so attached to our map of the world that we think we start to confuse the map, the mental map, for the territory, which is reality. That is the path towards nihilism, right? We start to think we've kind of done it all, we figured it all out. There's nothing left to do but destroy it in a way. And that is one area where people start to run counter to human interest. So that,
unless it is a heightened self-interest and selfish focus on own offspring compared to like the entire mankind gene pool.
The one thing I've thought about this, the yin and yang between good and evil, because God doesn't, not to get too religious, but God doesn't decry evil per se. It's almost like a necessary component of reality. I think the evil exists to test the integrity of the good. Right? Good is the confrontation with chaos, the entropy of nature that entrepreneurs and heroes throughout history use their logos, their wits, their skills to convert that chaos into good and useful order. But then that's not enough, right? We need to know that this order is long lasting, that it will stand the test of time. And that seems to me to be the purpose evil serves. Evil's like the counterforce to that good, to make sure, it's the storm that tests the integrity of the house, right? Something like that.
So would you say that evil improves good because good has to then defeat evil?
Yeah, it strengthens good over time, maybe. But this is where I get lost, frankly. I get so lost because
I highly doubt, Robert, that you get lost at anything, to be honest.
Well, are you kidding me? I live lost. Everything in the rabbit hole is confusing.
But then again, that feeling of lost probably opens our eyes and our mind more than any other time where we.
You know what? It's impossible. It is impossible to be found if you are never lost.
And on that note, and a mic drop right there. On that note, Robert, I know your time is limited. You got scripts to write, you got articles to write, you got videos to produce and interviews to make.
This is the next series. I'm going to be writing a series of essays on the sovereign individual. So it's a hard book to read. Not exactly. It's kind of a dry read too. So I'm hoping to help share the nuggets of wisdom that are in that book in a more palatable format.
What does palatable mean? Does it mean that I'll be able to understand it, or?
Delicious.
There we go. Puppy, let's bring you back into the conversation. I can see you're leaning back and zoning out a little bit. I thought it'd be nice if you participated maybe in the interview here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you allowed me back in? That's great. Thank you for allowing me back into the conversation. Yeah, where do we go from here? I don't know.
Well, okay. So, Robert, it's up to you how long you can go. Me and Puppy will continue. And I just want to say, so down below, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's some show notes where we have some guidance to different people in the chat, who they are, what they've done.
Show notes?
The show notes. And we have obviously a link to Robert Breedlove's Twitter account, where he has links to his website and all the content he produces. Go check it out if you're ready to be elevated mentally and philosophical. Yeah. Am I right, Robert?
I do my best. I just call it like I see it, I suppose.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's really awesome. But Pubby, yeah, I do let you back in. Do you have anything to say, Pubby?
No, listen, man. I'll finish up with this. Damn. When you look at this run that we've just had, we've had a run from 20,000 to 40,000. It doesn't make any sense to most people, but I'll tell you what, the ones that are here understand. The ones that are here get it. And I love everyone here. All right.
Me too. I absolutely do. And I think this is the point where Robert goes, what am I doing on the Toxic Happy Hour?
I agree. Bitcoin is love, man. If love is action, holding Bitcoin is love. It's selfish, but it's also selfless. So,
but I agree. And you know what? This is where, Robert, I'll jump in and actually go on your team here, where I'll say that mankind is willing to do stuff that is not really necessarily in their own interest. Jeff Booth said something on our show that I really relate to, and that I had been saying myself before. He said he was willing. He's willing to fight.
He told you to fuck off.
Puppy, all right, I'm gonna mute Puppy right here.
Fuck off. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Puppy is now muted for exiting too much garbage from his old stream. No, but so Jeff Booth said basically that he was willing to die for the cause of Bitcoin because he knows it's better for mankind. I was saying the same things like that before he did. That's why I love Jeff Booth coming into the and you're unmuted again now, Puppy. Right now, oh my, yeah.
Great.
So I remember saying earlier, I think last year, that there's three things that I'm willing to die for: friends and family, my country. And I know that Bitcoiners are saying let's no longer focus on countries and nations. Let's focus on citadels. But the Danish culture and the Danish small group of people, it's not more than one big citadel. We have, that's our culture, and I'm willing to die for that as well. And the third thing I said early last year is I'm willing to die for the Bitcoin cause, because here we have something that I'm so convinced will help humanity to such a large degree. If there's anything worth going to war for, it is Bitcoin.
And that's why we'll win. Because central bankers are not willing to die for their cause. We are.
And they won't even have a choice anyway. They're going down. There's nothing they can do. Bitcoin is decentralized. So unlike Napster, sorry?
They're pre-coiners like everyone else.
Yeah. They need to get their butt off zero. So the thing is, we don't really need central banks, national banks at all. The only chance they have to still be around, I would say 10 years from now, is by buying Bitcoin before it's infinity. The only chance they have is to buy Bitcoin while someone will still sell Bitcoin for that dirty fiat they're printing. Once that no longer is possible, they're dead.
Yeah, agreed. Guys, this has been awesome. Thank you for having me. Yeah,
thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciate it. I hope we didn't scare you up too much. I hope we'll see you again 2021 to celebrate, and we'll see you at the $100,000 party, hopefully, where we will try and get some shots in you.
Again, might be happening pretty soon, actually.
Right. So why don't we give you the final words from your side? Pubby and I will continue. But let's show all your projects and your podcast and everything. The word is yours.
So Twitter is probably the good universal source for everything. My Twitter handle is Breedlove22, BREEDLOVE 22. I've got a link tree on there with links to all my work. There's a link to my Medium page where I put my writing. There's a link to my YouTube channel, which just launched. And that is it's the What is Money show is what we're calling it. So first series, the Sailor series. Next series will actually be the Booth series. So I'm going to do a similar project with Jeff Booth. And then I've just got a star-studded lineup for the first several guests. And yeah, I just hope to expand expand awareness of Bitcoin, but also getting people to ask themselves deeper questions, which I think that the Trojan horse for that is the question, what is money? Instead of trying to tell people what Bitcoin is and why it matters, I found it better to just, pull an inception on them and leave them with that question for them to ask themselves, and that will naturally lead them to Bitcoin. So, and thanks again, guys. I'm happy to come back on. So we'll see you around.
All right, we have that on the record, Robert. So yeah, thank you very much. We both appreciate it. I can tell you that our 40 live viewers appreciate you being on as well, for sure. The chat appreciates you. Thank you so much. Have a great January, and we'll see you again later this year. And we'll definitely see you at the $100,000 party, and we will do some shots with you. Trust me, you're not going to escape.
Shots of green tea. I'm ready.
Yeah,
all right, peace, Robert. All right. So, Pubby, this is where we'll see the live viewers drop from 38 till about 3, which is great because we're just here for the fun of it. I have a question for you. What do you have in that water bottle?
Vodka.
I knew it. I got you. I knew it.
Fuck, man.
Hey, Puppy, we have one problem here. So Knut was watching, and I don't know if he's still watching. He was watching the end of the show. So look out for any possible cancellations from Knut Svanholm for his appearance.
Why from Knut, man? Come on.
No, I'm just kidding, man.
Yeah. I went fucking all in.
Huh? Yeah,
No,
you went all in. You went all in, all right. But hey, I'm here. This is my Friday. I can rock and roll. I still have, well, actually, there's not. I think there's only one shot left of this magic. Can I just say, look, this bottle, my father brought to me the Christmas of 2012 when I lived in Dubai, and unfortunately, he passed away from stupid cancer. So when I look at this bottle, I'm thinking of my dad as well. So this one, the final one, goes out to my dad, my dear dad.
Oh, love your dad, dude. Sorry, but yeah, love your dad. Sorry for all that.
Why are you sorry? I mean,
well, because I gotta open up the fucking top.
All right, so maybe so Greggy, I don't know if you're still there. You are stand-in co-host. I think could be super relevant time to now stand in for Puppy to be honest. Look, it's late Friday. You cannot expect Puppy to actually co-host at this time.
Oh, probably did his best.
I think there is a bug in Restream because it's telling me that we still have the same 38 live viewers. This can't be true. This cannot be true. Yo, Greg. So Greg, Greg, I need you to step right in here and help my our boy Puppy out. So I'm gonna find you in the chat in our DM, and you have proven yourself right now. You have the link in your DM from me. You have proven yourself. No, you can hang on, Puppy. I just need someone that I can talk to that talks back. So I don't know if Greggy can join. I think he is off work now on the East Coast. He's wrangling the kids at this moment, so that's not going to happen. Knut, if you're still there, let us know in the chat. We'll bring you in. Yeah, exactly. As Pedro is saying, get Knut on now. WTF. Puppy, man, wake up. Jesus Christ. We're doing a show here. This is going to be mean. Plan market shit. Can you please like go back and like video, like snip this from the YouTube when it's recorded? Hey, it's late Friday. Puppy's taking the football. Hey, Puppy, what is the difference between you and me? When I finish this Christmas akvavit from Denmark, and you can't tell, I think, and you're just, come on, man. You can't just leave me hanging here. Come on. All right. So, Knut, I will, you got it. I will right now. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, you will see, we'll have a surprise after party with Knut. And Knut, I will drop it in our...
Give me a minute. I'll call you. Give me a minute.
For what? Yeah, to shapen up a little bit, man. Get some water, Puppy. Knut, I sent you the link for the green room, basically the stream right now. It would be great, honestly, to have you in here now that Puppy is not able to keep it up. Honestly, so Greggy, I know you're still listening. You can't join, but I would say that that I need, you know, when we go out for steak in Florida later this year, clearly I need you to be able to handle your liquor. But you know, the good thing is Puppy's going to be very cheap. He'll take 2 shots, and I'll save my money. Maybe a glass of milk or something. Yep, we got man down. You know what? I didn't keep. That's it. Yes, sir. Knut. So, hey man, you got voice on there? You got audio?
Yeah, I gotta mute the YouTube channel. Wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
There you are. Hi,
How's
good evening or good night or whatever.
Yeah, good afternoon from Los Angeles, but a good evening to you in where are you exactly? I mean, to the level you want to.
Close enough to Denmark.
Okay, yeah. So we're not going to say Norway. We're going to keep that quiet from here. But then again.
Skal vi ta det hele på dansk?
Oh,
det går fint.
Yeah, vi kan sagtens snakke dansk. Okay, so the problem is we can speak in Danish, but everyone else here will not know what we're talking about. Even Puppy, who's a well-read man. Hey, man, thanks for coming on in the chat and hanging out with us. Thank you, everyone else in the chat. You've helped make this show something special. So what do you think? Let's have your take on Robert Breedlove and those discussions we were having. That's some heavy stuff.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for shilling my books. And I love Breedlove's work, and I agree with almost everything he says, except the Jesus stuff. Everything else I agree with. And it's so funny because when you find a guy like that thinks in the same way as you do, but comes from such a different angle, that's very very interesting and very I'm doing a pod with him in like a month, and looking forward to meeting him, since I find it so fascinating that we have almost the same outlook on how the world works, but from such different angles. Or maybe they aren't that different, but we think they are.
But there's no doubt that mentally awareness level, you're both quite high up and see things in ways that us mortals don't necessarily see. So it's a great it's great mental stimulation for the rest of us. Honestly, for me to listen to Breedlove and his points of view, it kind of it is interesting to think in these terms, like going up in the helicopter a little bit and think in the bigger picture, really.
Yeah, and it's a great honor to just be compared to have my mind compared to his.
Yeah, no, No, that's where I think we are. And so right now we're just doing an absolutely unprepared, which, by the way, pretty much every single Toxic Happy Hour is unprepared. But it's great to have you on and have just an informal chat, which also our show. So I would just want to plug that you are coming on the 25th of January, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So
what was the date again?
It was January the 25th.
25th. Yeah. That's right.
11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which will make it around 8 p.m. Your time, which is probably Copenhagen time right there.
Yeah.
But all right. So you find it interesting to see someone kind of like having the same thoughts as you. But let's hear a little bit about your take on Bitcoin in general.
Oh, that's a big question.
I know,
but if a tie-in from what Robert said about human action and trying to minimize anxiety in your life, like there's you can draw parallels from that to the thought that everything you do is a trade or a trade-off. You either trade with another person, like we're engaged in trade now. We exchange information with each other because we find it valuable to talk to each other. So in a way, we're exchanging value, and there are third parties that extract value from this conversation as well. Not only the audience, but the apps we're using. YouTube extracts value from it, and so trade is everywhere, and it's embedded in all human action. You can view all human action as trading, and in that sense, even if I didn't find it valuable to talk to you, I might find it valuable to talk to you just to practice my English. So I find it valuable to speak, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a value transfer between you and the other party. But the thing is, we're interacting unviolently, because humans have only two ways of interacting with each other, and it's like speaking, speech and violence, basically. And civilization is the speech part of that, and the violence is the other part. And that's what we're trying to get away from. And the way out of violence is through speech and through trade, which is speech, really. And Bitcoin has really sort of it's starting to prove that thesis to the world. It's like, hang on, there is no such thing as free speech in a nation state, because a nation state has laws, and all nation states have a national money and regulations on how you can trade and taxes and whatever. And that's all. When you really think about it deeply, that's all like violations of free speech, because money is just a linguistic tool, and this is how we move forward. And this is why speech is civilization. Interacting voluntarily with each other is what being civilized is all about. And I agree with a lot of Robert's points there.
I mean, I can tell already now that you guys operate on the same meta level. You're continuing his train of thought, and I'm enjoying it because I absolutely totally agree. Yet I didn't just exactly think about it like that as consciously. Maybe I was subconsciously, but no, this is great. But this is Toxic Happy Hour, Knut, and I have a very relevant question from my boy RD BTC, one of the best memers on Bitcoin Twitter. We got to respect him. We got to give him attention to his question. And he's asking if you have any vodka handy. And you are in Scandinavia, and we usually have vodka handy. So Do you?
Yeah, I have a really good whiskey, and I had gone to bed when you started talking about me. so, so I might as well just have a glass of that whiskey right now, right?
Right? Why not?
Yeah, the wife is out of the house, so.
And when that happens, it's if it's not party time, I don't know what time it is.
Give me a minute, and I'll.
Yeah. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute. So so there we go. All right, as things here from the chat I can't pull up. Guys, I hope you're enjoying. Look, Knut Svanholm is a really, really smart guy who's written books in the Bitcoin space, and I'm gonna enjoy listening to what he has to say. You just heard some of it. This is the, let's call it the Breedlove Svanholm special, where we are continuing in that high middle level. And normally, this is where Pubby excels. But if you notice, I didn't say much for the first 40 minutes because I was just taking in information. So Pubby is a bit of a sprinter. He was on there, he had input and was able to participate in the discussion with Breedlove for the first, let's say, half hour, 40 minutes. But he went too hard at it. It wasn't straight H2O in that bottle, and he's now paying the price, even though he doesn't have to go to work tomorrow. And that's it. What you got there? What's that one called?
This is a Breedlove. Breedlove, I think. The president.
Nice.
Something like that.
Where's that? Where's this whiskey from? Is it Scottish?
Yeah, it is. This is a single cask Islay single malt Scotch whiskey. It's an Islay whiskey, but it doesn't really taste like an Islay whiskey. It's not. It hasn't got that peaty tone to it. It's much. Well, it's different, but it's real.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you have some ice cubes in there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm just going to continue a little bit of water because I want to keep it at this level where I can participate in the conversation, unlike Pubby. But then I do have some the world's best vodka. I have it right, like not far from me, Belvedere, which is a really good vodka in my opinion, and gorgeous bottle as well. So anyway, so I'm gonna do water, but cheers, Svanholm. Cheers to the chat, and let's go. So
cheers, plebs. Good to see you all.
Oh yeah, so that was a big discussion on Twitter the other day. If it's plebs or plebes, and
of course it's plebs.
All right, so this is great because Pubby is not here now to argue against you. Pubby and President Fish are saying plebe. And I love my boy Pubby, so I'm saying plebe as well. But I don't claim to know. But you're saying it's plebs. Please explain why is it called plebs?
Because it's spelled pleb and not plebe. Plebe would have two e's in it, or like an e and an a.
That is true, and that is a very rational approach to that. But the question is, Svanholm, is everything rational, or are we sometimes above the rational meta layer?
Meta layers.
See, okay,
I mean,
it's a fancy new
pronunciations are subjective by nature, right?
Sorry,
but pronunciations are subjective by nature. Absolutely. But what constitutes a language is both objective and subjective. There are some linguistic experts that, or like that has also been trying. Authorities have been trying to like steal language from people over like by making dictionaries, and this is proper language and this is proper grammar and everything. But before that, everything evolved naturally, and I mean, there's some merit to organizing it all, and like you can, when you meet other Bitcoiners. Now I'm just free thinking here. When you meet other Bitcoiners, you immediately have a connection with them because you know they're above a couple of mental thresholds. So you don't have to play the theater or the charade that you have to play with normies, talking about the weather and such.
That is so true.
And this is an undervalued aspect of language, I think, because if you talk to someone and you can tell quite fast how sophisticated they are, even and the dialect usually doesn't matter that much. It's more like the content of what they're saying or the timing, or like, and it's a good tool to have. I guess.
I agree. No, I agree. And the thing that especially I can relate to is the fact that when you meet Bitcoiners, you have something with them that you don't have with other people. I have, my friends from long time ago that I absolutely, I love, and they're like brothers to me, like some of these best friends. Some of them have listened to me when I spoke about Bitcoin, and some of them not. I still love all of them. And then there's these other peoples that I've met through, people that I've met through Bitcoin, and Papa definitely being one of those, where so we've been talking on the phone for 2 years, and half a year ago I kept saying to him, look, Puppy, I want to restart my YouTube channel. I want to share our ideas with the world, the world being like 20 people wanting to listen. And so we started doing that 3-4 months ago. And the connection I have with Puppy is one that I don't have with some of my old friends, because we share this common understanding of the world in from an angle now that that you don't have with someone who's not a Bitcoiner. So I've met some really great friends through Bitcoin, Puppy being one of them, that I haven't even met him in real life yet. But
yeah, I have so many new friends like that I haven't met in real life, but it feels like I know them better than many of my old friends already.
Because you have that foundation and that common understanding of a lot of things that you don't have necessarily with. So should we pay a little bit? Guys, I'm so sorry about the chat. I just can't keep up anymore, because you are now more than 2 people watching the show. But if you have any questions for Knud, we would love to hear it.
Yeah. Did you see my new Bitcoin swag? Like my Bitcoin where everything divided by 21 million.
Yeah. I saw that. So I love it. Please explain it to all of us. The infinity divided by 21 million.
Yeah, the concept or the brand. Like we just launched a site which sells like T-shirts, hoodies, and hats. Only 210 of them. Special limited edition with the everything divided by 21 million logo on them.
Cool.
In the same theme as the video. That video was actually made from an article I wrote for Citadel 21 magazine. Where is it there?
Right. Yeah. You down with Hotlanot?
Yeah. He lives in Oslo.
Yep. Just like you.
He's
just doxed yourself.
No, but I'm close by. We're like 5 or 6 hours apart.
Which is anywhere in Scandinavia.
Yeah. But COVID and all the police statiness of Norway has like pushed our first physical meeting into the future.
Yeah,
more and more day by day.
Unfortunately, Camilla Campton, who is a I'm sorry, Jackie. I will give her some credit here. She's a phenomenal content producer on TikTok, bringing real Bitcoin maximalism to TikTok, which, you know what, that is a big communication channel, and that is needed content. She's asking what your accounts are. So let's give people a chance to you have something out of the trade of being on the show, so you can show some of your accounts.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to write in the chat here.
So
maybe I can.
I
can write in the YouTube chat, right? That's how I do it, of course.
Sure.
So let's see here. There.
I think that Labra.HODL, our boy from Southern America, might have answered with @Knut Svanholm, but please tell us. Please correct this dog.
The @Knut Svanholm, that's my Twitter handle. And there's the link to the clothes, and here's the link to Ione Appleberg's YouTube channel, which is we've been collaborating, him, me, and Guys One, and we've made 3 videos. The first one we made is everything there is divided by 21 million, which is from the Citadel 21 article. And we turned the first chapter of sovereignty through mathematics into a video called Bitcoin Everything a Trade. And the latest one is a video called The Bitcoin's Price Curve Will Not Be S-Shaped, in which I explain that concept, that it's...
Let's talk about that, because I have a very strong opinion, and I'm not necessarily right, although I am usually right most of the time. But anyways, let's talk about what your price expectations or this S-curve adoption is looking like. And you disagree with the S-curve, so let's hear about your expectations for should we call it Bitcoin adoption? Because to me, price is a reflection of Bitcoin adoption.
Yeah, and I think that is slightly wrong, because like most network technologies, they have an S-shaped adoption curve, and even if Bitcoin, the technology, has that doesn't necessarily mean that the price of Bitcoin has that kind of a curve, because the first thing that happens, if you think about the hyper Bitcoinization and what that really means, like when more and more people figure out how much better Bitcoin is at almost everything that a money should be able to do, which is transporting value through space and time without interference. It's much better at that than anything else we have at the moment, and that means that even when the entire world has adopted Bitcoin and everyone has a Bitcoin wallet on their mobile, and a significant part of us is running their own node, and like when we have full adoption, that doesn't mean that there isn't more money in the world, and so more money can still be funneled in. And there's a point in time, then a hypothetical point, where all the money in the world is in Bitcoin, but it doesn't end there. And this is the important part. Like after that happens,
this is interesting.
Yeah, because people like I like to think things through as far as possible. This is like I might be completely wrong about everything, but I like to follow the thought vector wherever it leads me. And I've been thinking about hyper Bitcoinization, and when everything is priced in, and Bitcoin has eaten all other monies, so there's no point in speaking about dollar value or anything like that any longer. Bitcoin's purchasing power can still go up from there, and the thing is, it can still go up faster and faster from there, because once Bitcoin has reached such a level of adoption that everything, speaking about its value terms in any other value measurement, is pointless, then we have a global sound money free market economy, and that will lead to infinite purchasing power, or at least that's what where the vector leads, because that's so much more well-oiled and so much better for everything. And like even in the like handicapped free market, the global free market we have right now, production costs and shipping costs are constantly dropping. If you read Jeff Booth's book, The Price of Tomorrow, you can see that the marginal cost of yeah, there it is.
You're
the marginal cost of everything
right there? Yeah.
Yeah, the marginal cost of everything is dropping to zero.
Yeah.
And what the central bankers do, they try to hide this by making prices go up so much so that we can't see that everything is almost for free anyway. And what Bitcoin does, it allows this abundance to be, after hyper Bitcoinization, is like it allows this abundance to be accessed by anyone. And this is so important because it's beyond mind-blowing. I have a hard time visualizing what such a world might look like, but still, from my own experience with Bitcoin, I've noticed that if you hold Bitcoin and you see its value go up, you're still disincentivized to spend them, and the faster the value of Bitcoin goes up, the more disincentivized you are to spend them. So we can have this abundant future for everyone, but still not overconsume or use up resources, because everyone will be reluctant to spend or spend frivolously and spend on things that aren't really capital goods, or that don't really forward things. So all people will spend their money on stuff that is really worth spending your money on, which is like really good stuff and investments, really good investments, not like taking a huge loan to launch your own beer or your own brand of whatever, just for the fun of it. But real good investments, only the best investments will survive. So the purchasing power of Bitcoin, I believe the price curve will be so much weirder than people think it can be, because like it has been said that humanity's biggest flaw is our inability to understand the exponential function. And Bitcoin is showing us how embarrassingly bad we are at this. We're seeing this price rise, and we can't wrap our heads around it, because it's people don't believe their eyes. But this is what it's designed to do, and this is what inevitably happens when people realize it at the same time. So you don't know, the next 5 years might be the weirdest years in human history, and I'm looking forward to them. I'm slightly scared of them, but I'm looking forward to them as hell, because I'm sitting in
Look,
I'm having a front seat to this, so I'm so lucky.
Oh, exactly, lucky.
Despite the boating accident, I still have the whiskey.
Yeah, but you have a whole bottle, so we're not going to run out here. And you know what? I'm Danish, so I can run 2 shows in a row right here in the same stream. It's not a problem, because I can handle it. Unlike Pubby, who's American, he went down with the ship. He turned pirate, but he went down with his pirate ship. Knut,
yeah, he did.
But I'm gonna throw.
I'm peaceful.
Sorry,
I'm peaceful.
Peasant. So anyone out there, if I know you won't understand it, but Knut said something very important here, and I want you to memorize it and tell Pubby, han blev pissefuld. Now you understand. Play it back and learn it and tell Pubby. Sooner or later, he's gonna have to look it up in Danish. So I'm going to throw a dart here, Knut, and this is not doxing you, otherwise I wouldn't do it. I'm going to say you're Swedish.
Yeah. You do. People know that already.
Okay, well, I didn't. Sorry. Okay, so I wasn't being smart there, because apparently that's public knowledge. I just think I'm fairly decent at guessing. So we have Camilla Campton, or at least we had in the chat. We had her on the show as well, and I was able to guess her age, unlike Pubby, obviously. So Pubby's academic level is very front-loaded. He comes out strong out of the gate. and he's saying stuff that I'm, grasping to understand, but he does go down with his ship. And I'm taking a piss at Pubby now because he, my co-host left me now, so he's gonna go down. I hope someone is recording something, and is gonna pull his pants down on Twitter tomorrow.
I see a question from the chat here. Are we living in a simulation?
Did I guess it right?
There it is. Yeah, that one. My thoughts on that is like the theory goes that as computer graphics get better, sooner or later, and like these what they call the fake videos, the deep fakes, sooner or later we'll be able to create a virtual reality experience that will be indistinguishable from real life. And what's to say that we aren't living in a simulation? And what's to say we aren't living in a simulation, in a simulation, in a simulation? Well, you can do the Matrix integral there for forever. But my thoughts on that are: does it matter? I mean, if we can't ever prove it or measure it, or then we might as well behave as if this was the real reality, because we might never. There's no point in studying something that we can't ever prove. So why go down that route? Of course, it's a funny thought experiment, but so are many thought experiments. So.
God damn, Knut. I look forward to our show the 25th. This is just a teaser. And I mean,
I'm on fire tonight.
And you're going to stay on fire, because for the sake of the audience, the best chat in the space, I'm going to hang in there, and I will not go down with the ship. I will hold it. I'll hold it tight. And that being said, so please allow me to. So I know you can say, I mean, you already did a lot of really smart and sensible and mind-blowing things. I need, if you can give me like 90 seconds to reset my node in the corner, because I want to make sure, because it's, with and we need to be up to date on the Lightning Network node. I also need to grab my bottle of Belvedere. So could you carry on in 90 seconds and give me a chance? Because we've been going on for 2 hours now. That node needs resetting. Could you? Can I leave you for 90 seconds? I mean, come on, you write books. You can do this.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll see what I. Yes.
I love
just
it.
Just a whiskey and a live audience on YouTube.
Yo, we got a wonderful. Can you? Okay, Pedro. I'm gonna tell you. Thank you very much. He's saying that I'm here. Look, I'm doing this for you guys. I am not able to understand my own words, but I'm hanging in there. I'm running now on simulation backdrop on the backbone, and just, I'm just trying to run on automated thought process, and not participating too much in what I'm saying myself. So you're right, Pedro. You're absolutely right. So, all right, give me 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I'll give the word back to you. I'll hurry up and come back here.
I'll take some questions.
Yeah. You can see the chat, right?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. All right. Dear chat, beautiful people, please throw some questions at the genius we have aboard right now, and I'll be right back.
All right. When does Knut think escape velocity will happen? Yeah, I wish I knew. The way things are going now, they're looking good, but there might be a huge correction, and then we'll have to wait for another 5 to 10 to 50 to 100 years before it happens. I mean, you never know. A bug in the code could still be found. I mean, it's being monitored by a lot of people, but there's still a chance that Bitcoin can fail. The longer we do this, the smaller that risk is. But I think we ought to behave as if this bull run is the hyper Bitcoinization cycle, and I think we always ought to behave like that. So secure your keys and run your node and do everything. I'm too bad at it myself. I need to. There's a lot of shit I need to do and a lot of technical stuff that I should really read up on. But I have a life as well. So, but there, this might be the last bull run. Prepare for that. Is there another question? Like, it's going too fast. How did Bitcoin find me?
I like it. He's turning it
yeah,
around.
I don't really remember. I don't remember when I first heard about it. But I was intrigued by it though, and I was working on this tall ship I was on for 8 years, sailing around the world and visiting a lot of different countries, and seeing different political systems, and hearing the rest of the crew often like just parroting whatever worldview they were brainwashed with from the beginning, and I was trying to make sense of it all, and what fascinated by money and how complicated it was to just convert money. And Bitcoin found me around that time, like maybe 2013, 14, something ish. And but I didn't really. Then I took an online course in 2016, and started writing short after that.
Have you always been writing, Knut?
No. Well, I have been. I've been writing song lyrics before. I'm a musician, so I played in a lot of bands and I wrote songs. So that's where my interest in the English language stems from, I guess.
Right.
But then I quit my last band because it didn't really work out, and I have a family, so I didn't really have time for it. I didn't have the time to give it as much passion as it required. So we quit the whole thing, and then I had no other creative like outlet, and I need to be creative. I have that thing in me that I need to be creative in ways, and so I started writing, and I realized that writing is really good because you can do it from anywhere, and you can do it at any time, and you don't really need anything but your phone. And the writing process is like 95% of it is like not writing and just thinking, and when you start writing, it's kind of it's quite a fast process, but you need to get a really good idea first, otherwise it's not worth putting on paper.
Right. Artie has a question: is Bitcoin conscious?
No, of course not. Like
Artie, what kind of question is that? I was thinking like, oh
yeah, but I know the like I know all these discussions about oh, there it is. Cheers.
Cheers. I've got here 1.75 liters. Everyone in US, I'm sorry, that's about 4 pints. This is the best vodka in the world, and it's one of the most beautiful bottles right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah,
It's gorgeous.
but
cheers to beaut.
This is Anders conscious.
No, Pedro. No.
What is consciousness?
Yeah, let's take that one.
The answer.
First, I will answer, and then you will ask the question of what is consciousness. Pedro, as I was trying to say before, if you paid attention, that just like Pubby, I went down a rabbit hole. My conscious level went down that rabbit hole. Right now, I'm running on the fumes. I'm running on my spine of automatic thinking and speech, and we have moved beyond the conscious level, you could say. So Knut, why don't you ask the question about what is consciousness? Don't ask me though.
Yeah, is Bitcoin conscious? Well, like it runs on human incentives and human incentive structures. Like the only thing except maths in it is that people is a belief that people will act in their own self-interest. It's based on game theory, and it has sort of proven that that genre of game theory actually works. That's how I view it. And to that point, like whenever I get a captcha saying I am not a robot, I ask myself, how the fuck would I know?
Right. We don't know if we're a
Yeah.
robot. We don't know. But one thing I think we can say for certain. So our boy Jody, I'm not going to say where you live, Jody. I'm not going to dox you right here. And but he says Pubby isn't conscious, and I think he's on a point there without me fully being able to explain what consciousness is. I'm pretty sure that Pubby is not.
Yeah, this question is good because I have an answer to it. Will majority of peasants own second layer Bitcoin in the future because on-chain fees are too high in the future? Yeah, on-chain fees will be higher in the future. Get your Lightning node running and get some of your Bitcoin onto Lightning right now, because it will be more expensive in the future. And we don't really know how fast that process will be. But the more people we onboard and the more money we onboard and the more reckless people that spend too much we onboard, the higher the fees will be.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. So yes, and yes, the peasants will be on second layer Bitcoin, and yes, second layer Bitcoin is Bitcoin.
I agree. Yeah. Good. But Knut, now I have a question for you. So yeah, well, Jody, I didn't want to say that you lived 100 meters from Raoul Pal, who's down at the Cayman Island, but now you wrote in the chat. I'm absolutely, definitely going to expose that. That was your call, man. But Knut, what is the definition of a peasant?
No, I'm just reading the question. He referred to other people.
Answered it. I know, but you answered it. You said that peasants will be
so your question to me is, what's the definition of a peasant?
Yeah. Because look, I don't get it. Look, Knut, I don't get it all, but I can hear that you and Robert, you guys get it on a literal philosophical level that I admire and enjoy. I will say I enjoy it. So now I will, but I gotta throw some, curveballs back at you and ask you what a peasant is.
Look it up in the dictionary. I didn't choose that word. I don't like calling other people peasants. Like okay. I picture pitchforks and torches and like
yeah.
We're all peasants in a way.
Because I love you and you're our brother nation. I'm from Denmark. I'm not afraid to say that. And we do love you in Sweden. I'm not going to say we look down upon you, but we love you, no, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you.
Yes, you do, and you should. I like Denmark better than Sweden.
Oh my God, I love Knut. Now I'm going to say like when Jeff Booth came on that I loved you before, but I love you even more now. Thank you. So one of my best friends is from Sweden. He lives across the bridge in Malmö. So look, I love everyone. I love Swedes. I love Danes. I love Norwegians. I do love people from Holland and all around the world. It's about what's inside your heart and what's inside here. I don't care where you're from.
Yeah. Do you think Bitcoin largely epitomizes the peak evolutionary step of money? You think there is something beyond it? In other words, an advanced alien civilization's money? This is funny. I had a debate with who was that? Reed Womack about if an alien came and visited us and tried to start to trade with us with a clone of Bitcoin that had actually more proof of work and was a longer chain, which is it's a bit far-fetched to begin with that we would ever, if we ever encountered aliens, that they have a technology that is so.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So for a blockchain from another solar system to be relevant in on planet Earth, you need to be able to transmit the information, basically the energy at the speed of light. Because even on Mars, the delay.
But if they had those Independence Day ships with them and had all the miners on board those, I mean, there's
that's another chain. Then it forks up. Then it becomes alien.
But there's like there are many mental hurdles to just imagining this. But it's quite an interesting hypothetical question. If don't bother with the technical details because it makes no sense whatsoever. But the hypothetical question is good because it's really the base. It's the same question as do you think anything will replace Bitcoin in the future? And no, I don't. I think this is like by far the best thing we have and the best shot we have at ever achieving absolute digital scarcity. And if you've seen the evolution of computers from the beginning and up, like my first computer was a Commodore 64, which is still like with the first time I realized I could program in BASIC like 10 print and a phrase and then 20 go to 10, and it would print the phrase over and over again until I stopped the program. That's like, oh shit, that's like the first realization about computers is like shit, I can copy everything. Literally everything here is copyable, and like you can duplicate everything an infinite amount of times, and it changes everything. And I haven't had such a moment since then until Bitcoin, because there's like, oh shit, there's something on the computer that I can't copy now that is completely uncopyable, and it's as big a revolution as the computer itself was, if not even bigger, because those are really the two. The main thing a computer does is copying things and and reproducing stuff, and Bitcoin does the opposite. And that's like it's something you thought the machine couldn't do, and that it was impossible. It's like a time machine in that sense, or a perpetuum mobile, like a infinity machine. You can't really wrap your head around it until you see it and understand it and see that it actually works. So that's why I think like none of the shitcoins can overtake it or anything like that, because that defies the whole purpose of the invention. The invention, or as I like to call it, the discovery, was absolute mathematical scarcity on the internet, or like absolute scarcity, period. And that can only be achieved once, because if you copy it, it's not absolute anymore, and like a copy of it doesn't count. There's an infinite amount of copies. An infinite amount of copies can easily be made, and there's literally no point to that, because the copies defy the purpose of the original thing. Like they defy the purpose of defy the discovery. And
can I support that?
Yeah,
I just want to quickly support that. Even if you fork off Bitcoin's protocol, exactly the same protocol, maybe make like a tiny little iteration. If it's the same thing, but it has no hashing power compared to Bitcoin, Bitcoin already is a much better money because it has the security. So to beat their existing best money in the world, Bitcoin,
not even hashing power matters. Because like for me, the proof of Bitcoin being sufficiently decentralized was when we resisted the Segwit 2x fork. Before that, I was unsure, but after that, I became really really convinced that this was it. It actually works. The users defied what the biggest companies in the space said. It proved that the miners are the slaves of Bitcoin and not the masters. The users are the masters, the miners are the slaves. And like when you get that, and when you get that, this thing, we can't change it. No one can. It can change us, but we can't change it. It's like, yeah, you can't go back after that. You're lost in these thoughts, and that's what happened to me, and that's why I feel this urge to write all the time and go on silly podcasts every now and then, and like try to express myself.
So yeah, look, we will take the brand of silly podcast any day. So that's what we do. We try and bring. I call this more of a party than a podcast or show. Because it's
Hygge.
not just us
It's
on the screen. For us, the chat is an equally, if not more, extremely important part of the thing. But let's not forget why we're here, Knut, because this is the dessert. Sorry, I think it's called. And it's phenomenal to listen to your thoughts. But let's not forget why we're here. You brought whiskey. I still didn't. I've just been sitting listening, but I didn't taste the Belvedere yet. So I would like to say cheers to you. Cheers to the chat. Everyone have a shot out there, at least
Cheers.
one.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Wayne. Yep, Wayne's World. So the thing that was, you know that as a Swedish guy, the thing that is great about the schnapps is it's ice cold. It's It's in the freezer. You take it straight out of the freezer. You can't taste it. It goes straight down like water. Having a room temperature Belvedere is a little bit of a different chance. So Knut, so Dremen is, sorry if I don't pronounce your name right, he's spelling out hygge, which is a very, very important, the most important word in Danish is hygge. Do you have that in Swedish, and can you please explain to the please in the chat what that means? Yeah.
No, hygge is an exclusively Danish word. It doesn't exist outside Denmark, and nor should it, because I think it's something you can only have in Denmark. It's when everyone is really friendly, like we're all a big family, and like it's like people can. If you watch enough Danish movies, you get a sense of what it is, because Danish movies is like the entire nation is impervious to lies. They can't really. Everything is so truthful. Even when they lie, they tell the truth. And I come from a small place in the countryside that is just like that. Like dialectically, we're unable to lie or deceive people. It's there's something there, and I feel this way about Denmark. That there's a truth to Denmark.
Thank you. And Knut, I just can't say enough that I love what you're saying, because so I have lived in 4 different continents in the world. The funny thing is, when I was a young teenager, I was so feeling the need of having a secure world around me. I could not imagine moving and living in a different country away from my friends and family. But when I was 16, we sat at the dinner table and my parents said, so kids, me and my sister, how do you feel about moving to Australia? And immediately I was like, that's awesome. Let's go to Australia. So I went to high school in Australia, came back to Denmark. Then I lived in Dubai, which is basically Asia. So that was the 3rd continent, since Australia was the 2nd. Now I live in US. It's the 4th continent. And so that has opened up my mind to different ways of thinking than the Danish, of course, the Scandinavian, the European. And what I realized was I took honesty for granted, but having seen these other continents, I realized, look, and they're great in other points than Danish. So I'm not talking down about other cultures. All I'm saying is what I realized was that, an upside, I would say, to Denmark is honesty is the #1 value in Denmark, I feel.
Yeah.
You don't lie. If you lie, no one will have you anymore. That's it. You're done. You cannot. Yeah. If you're a liar, that is like the bottom of society. You cannot be a liar. You got to tell the truth.
Sweden used to be like that, but but it's been too politicized lately, and like there's people worry about their image too much, and because they need to, because they can get fired if they think the wrong things, or like honesty and free speech are not as held as high here as in Denmark, and it's depressing to me because I still live here. But
So that's
yeah,
one thing I
after
would
this
say.
rally, I might move.
Sorry?
After this
Okay. Yeah. Look, you're welcome in Denmark, and next time I come to Denmark, I want you and
maybe
I
not to Denmark, but
you're not coming. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not saying you should move to Denmark, but what I'm saying is,
talking about out of Sweden because
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah. No, I look. Sweden is a good place. Before you totally disregard it, I think there's many great things in Sweden, and I mean, but what I will say is, so we're both part of the same Telegram group for like some Nordic Bitcoiners. And I hope that when I come to Copenhagen, there will be a meetup and I get to meet you real life. And
I did a meetup in Copenhagen just a couple of months back. Yeah, I had a really great time. I had a great steak, and met some other Bitcoiners. Yes, perfect time.
So let's give some shout outs from you to a couple of Bitcoiners in Copenhagen, because why not?
Yeah. Shout out to all my Bitcoin friends in Copenhagen. Fabio, are you there?
Probably not. I don't think anyone is here, but you know what? We'll send the link to them. We'll send the link and say, if you want to go Bitcoin Philosophical Squared, you watch the stream that not only Breedlove was on it, but Knut Svanholm came in and did the final knockout on the meta level. I know meta level. I won't even be able to describe it, but I believe it's above where I am at the moment.
Do I drive a Volvo? No, but I used to. Now I drive a Toyota.
Well, there we have it. What kind of Toyota? Oh, I mean, don't dox yourself, but I guess Camry would be a stable choice of Toyota.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not going to dox my car. That's just stupid. It's not a Lambo and it's not a Volvo.
What I will say, Knut, is I don't own a car, so I'm sorry to hear how bearish you are. You actually own a car. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own a bicycle because I wanted to optimize my sats. But you know what? You're still a nice bear, so I'm happy to have you on the show.
Is the wife blonde? No, she's a brunette. Thank you. Beautiful.
Pedro doesn't like the Corolla, but it's all right.
I have such a stunningly beautiful wife. You wouldn't believe it if you saw her. I'm not kidding now. And but I won't dox her.
Of course not.
So this is like I would sometimes I feel the urge to show my wife to the Bitcoin community just as a braggy thing, but I won't.
No, you should never do that. Yeah, Pedro, you're absolutely right. I actually don't own Bitcoin because I always loved it. I believed in it, but I never had the money to buy, so I don't own any Bitcoin. But I'm very bullish. I'm here for your sake. I want to help you guys get rich quick, and I'm just here to see my friends prosper. Pedro, thank you. I love you.
I don't even own Bitcoin. I lost them in a boating accident. I've told everyone several times now. But
you know what? I think one of the biggest events in 2021 is going to be the boat accident of the $100,000 party. It's going to be a
$100,000 boating accident. Yeah.
So Michael Saylor is going to orchestra to take all these Bitcoiners and give them an amazing opportunity to actually lose their hardware wallet to the bottoms of the ocean.
Yeah. He has the perfect name for that as well. Michael Saylor losing hardware wallets at sea.
See, and this is why, Knut, this is telling me that there's too many things that are not coincidental. This is pointing towards us being in a simulation because, come on, he's throwing a party, he's famous Sailor. Come on, man, this is not
the one thing I have, like, what pro simulation theory. Some events in my life, I can only describe them as this has to be a simulation. And the first one is when Jamie Oliver made a rap, because I can't stand Jamie Oliver.
Oh, you can't? Okay, why? Let me
because he's always virtue signaling, and he's always like the Metro perfect, like, and he has this. He's slightly fat, and he does his. Tossing some mint. I can't stand him. I wish I could say I had nothing personally against him, but I do. I can't stand him. and when he made a rap with other celebrities, that was like. That crossed all my lines. This has to be a simulation. It's a joke, and it's on me.
Jamie Oliver is the proof that we are living in a simulation. Honestly,
it's a joke on me.
I think this must be one of the most lit toxic happy hours, because I can't believe, Knut, that we had you and Robert Breedlove. You guys didn't even talk, but you spoke through time. You spoke through time. We're talking fourth dimensions, because some of the things that Robert was saying, you carried on to that later in time, right? That takes us full circle on the fourth dimension. We put in time in this conversation, all of that, and
Silent Lamb. Cheers.
Yeah. So Silent Lamb. All right, and Marty's owl is realizing it's harsh. Look, that's what we bring on the Toxic Happy Hour. We try to bring truth. We don't care. We will say what we mean, and that's why we get effed up.
Yeah.
And look, we don't do it because we want to have a drink, but we do it so we can ease our wonderful, intelligent guests into the similar situation, and that we start hearing the truth from them without that filter of having to be nice and accepted by the world. We're seeing the real Knut Svenholm now. And on that note, Knut, I think we got to take it up one more time.
Yeah, I finished mine. I need to pour myself.
That's okay. I mean,
a tiny bit more.
Yeah, you're Swedish, so I understand you need a little push.
Yeah. But this is the last one.
I swear it's the last one. You don't have to drink anymore. It's okay. Yeah, right. I think I'm like 50% on top of your age. Look, we got the silver foxes right here. I don't see one gray hair on you, Knut. So
they're in the beard.
Yeah. That looks great. So actually, Knut, let me tell you, this shot glass, I got it from my Swedish friend. This is handmade in Sweden. This beautiful shot. Yeah, I do enjoy it. From my Swedish friend. So that is a very cute, tiny whiskey you're having. So bottoms up on that. Cheers, Knut.
Cheers.
Yeah. Don't give up. Don't start being desperate now and giving up. Like we're running this. We're doing this. You can do it, Knut. You can do it. You're Swedish. Come on. You had gold beers. Did you? Okay, that's a question. Let me take it down a notch.
Yeah. Tuborg Classic is the answer.
As a Dane, I have seen many Swedes come to Denmark and line up for gold beers. And for the people who don't know it, gold beers are the ones that are a step up on the proof level. Have you ever taken a trip as a youngster to Denmark to get some of them gold beers, ice cold from the supermarket?
To get the gold beers, no. I've been to well, as a youngster, I've been to Denmark many times and drank beers there, but I didn't come there for bringing gold beers home. No, I never did that, and I never had a need to. Yeah, I was working at sea, so I always had cheap beer.
All right, that's a good excuse.
In case people don't know, taxes on alcohol are quite high in Sweden.
They are, and you buy it
and they were even higher before. No, they weren't higher before, but they were higher compared to the rest of the world. The rest of the world's taxes were lower before, so a lot of Swedes went on holiday just to buy alcohol and stuff like that. But it doesn't really exist anymore. Well, we still drive to Germany to bunker up.
Bunker up on beer.
Yeah.
Germany is known for extremely cheap canned beer.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing I do is like now there was a point where Danish beer was almost more expensive than Swedish beer. Not really, but almost. But whenever I work part-time in Copenhagen, so I'm in Copenhagen quite often, and I always buy Danish beer anyways because I really like the Tuborg Classic bottles. And I like that beer. It's an easy beer, and I like it.
I remember clearly I was studying my bachelor in college when Tuborg Classic was introduced. They were running a promotion where they were handing out Tuborg Classic, and that was one rabbit hole I went down. Phenomenal. Absolutely enjoyed
Tuborg Classic rabbit hole.
Yeah. Honestly, you can do that when you're at university. You can go down a beer rabbit hole and thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah,
I can confirm that.
Yeah, I've been through that myself.
So, what did you study, Knut?
Master Mariner.
As a mariner.
Yeah, Master Mariner. That's my degree. But before that, I studied 1 year of engineering, like in electronics. But I only finished the math courses, and then I dropped out because I was tired of school. I was like 18 or 19, and so I sort of failed that, and then I went to sea instead, and worked for a couple of years, and then started the Master Mariner studies, and started working on that tall ships after that, and
the tall ships.
Now I'm in the offshore business.
So I know we have also North American, South American listeners. Can you please explain what a tall ship is? Because all they know are hangar ships.
A tall ship is an old sailing ship with square sails on 3 masts, or 3 or more masts. So
they are gorgeous. And are you being called away to leave the live stream? Because I saw some interaction there. Are we reaching the end of the rope for you as well, Knut Svanholm?
If we're reaching the end of the rope, yeah, I guess we are. I need to go pretty soon. I should. This is a spontaneous thing. This became a later night than I had planned, but no worries.
Look, thank you for hanging out in the chat. Thank you for coming on the show. Let it be known to the world that the Dane, the Viking, he don't go down with no ship. He's hanging on to the end, and I'm ready to go because I'm running on fumes. My fumes never end. Knut, it was phenomenal to talk to you.
We should call it go down with the hardware wallet instead of going down with the ship, right?
We should. Yeah. But the thing is, I already lost my hardware wallet, so
lost it in space. That's the new boating accident, the like space station accident where you lose your hardware wallet in space.
Hey, look, it's a simulation. I lost it in the simulation. I was, it was another computer. So Eric just joined after, I guess we launched 2 hours, 35 minutes ago, and asking where's Breedlove. So we have Breedlove right here. He took on another appearance. Look, Eric, here's the deal. So Breedlove and Pubby were kind to be here with us for like an hour, 15 minutes. Breedlove had to go. He had productive things to do. Pubby had to go. He had non-productive things to do. And we've had the pleasure of phenomenal, mind-blowing perspective from Knut Svanholm for the last more than 1 hour.
Oh, we've been on that long?
I think so. More than an hour, I'm pretty sure. Unless I was here for myself for half an hour, but I don't think so. That would have fallen apart right there. So once again, this is a show by the plebs, or the plebes, for the plebes, with the mind-blowing capacities of Robert Breedlove and Knut Svanholm and so many more. And we don't have any words from our phenomenal sponsors because we're here not really for the sponsors, but just to have a party and have fun with you guys. And I want to personally meet as many of you as possible at Bitcoin 2021 in Los Angeles next year, the end of April, 30th of April, 1st of May. There is a link down below. You get 21% discount if you pay with dirty fiat for the ticket. And we have lots of like fun stuff down below in the show notes. And I put the ref links at the very end because I don't care. To be honest, I just want to hang out with my some good mates. Yes, Eric, you are late to the party, mate. You're late. What can I say? Get it on playback. It's all there for you. Artie, thanks. Yeah, thanks, guys. You're welcome. So Knut, let's call it a night and give you a sign out on final words. Plug your Twitter and plug anything you do. I presume they can find everything from your Twitter.
Yeah, they can find everything from my Twitter. It's at Knut Svanholm on Twitter. So that's my main Bitcoin stuff channel. So you'll find the merch, the videos, and the books, and my Amazon authors page. That's another like hub. But maybe I should get a website or something. The thing is, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I never do.
Knut, what you're going to do, even though you will not admit it, what you're going to do is you're going to watch the price of Bitcoin and you're going to enjoy your purchasing power go up, even though you're saying 1 Bitcoin is equal 1 Bitcoin, you don't care about dirty fiat. Price going up is a measurement of increased purchasing power, and it's a measurement of how far we're getting in the disruption of money of the world, in my opinion. So I'm also focusing on the price. I think it's important.
Of course it is. It's NGU technology. It's the only thing. It's the only thing that matters. People try to deny that and get around that and stuff, but the price is important. Of course it is. But the thing is, to end this on a back to Mises note, value is subjective. You decide your own price, guys. Thanks everyone. Thanks for all the nice words in the chat there. And but I want to end it on this note. You decide your own price. The price on the screen is what someone else decided they wanted to sell their Bitcoin for. You can wait it out, and you can sell for much more than that, or not sell it at all, preferably. The price on the screen is an indicator of what someone else did. It's historical data. All prices are just historical data. They're not the truth. The truth about Bitcoin and its value is in your head. You decide, not them.
Knut, how can I possibly follow up on that? So everyone, until now, you can sign up now because that was the end of the show. Those were some of the most intelligent words spoken. The truth is in your brain. I will personally go and look at the Toxic Happy Hour Telegram group. We have a chat there where we can talk. So if anyone there, RD, Pedro, Greggy, I know, yes, he's not around anymore. I think he went down with the kids. But share the link to the Telegram group. It's not a closed party. This is an open party. We appreciate everyone. And so I hope to see you there. And on that note, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening in. Thank you, Knut. Thank you to Robert Breedlove. I'm not sure if I'm going to say thank you to Pubby because his job was co-hosting and he didn't last 50% of the show. So Pubby, you got to level up a little bit here and you got to hold that bottle of water a little bit better. Step it up, brother. Step it up. Watch the show on playback and see all the things you missed because I had a great time with you, Knut. So on that note, I will end it now and say, first off, high five to you, Knut. High five. High five to the chat.
High five.
And Marty, you're absolutely right. Pubby is right now plowing the fields of the mines to sow the seed of Bitcoin. And I want everyone to realize that they should not store more value in dirty fiat that they're willing to lose, because it's a built-in policy that they will absolutely steal the value of your savings if you have it in dirty fiat being dollar, euro, pound, whatever you're forced to use at gunpoint. Consider Bitcoin, I would say, as an alternative. Absolutely, condolences for Puppy, and RIP Puppy. And I hope to see someone share the link to the Telegram group for Toxic Happy Hour. I don't have it myself. In future episodes, it's going to be built in the show notes below, so everyone can join the after party. I'm going to go there now. I hope some of you will be there. If not, have a great evening. And we love you all, even Puppy. And even though he decided that not to stay with you for the party for the more than 50% of the rest of the show, we love you all. On behalf of Puppy, he still loves you, even though he's not here. And thanks for hanging out. I kept it till the end. Love you all. Have a great night. Bye.